Hi, I'm Wendy B. Getting Unstuck with Wendy B. Thank you. This is live, and I start at 12 noon. I promised you last week I would make sure I knew what time it was. It is now 11:58. So I want to welcome everybody that's going to be on the call, and I'm going to be using notes because I'm fairly new at this, and I don't memorize everything, even though it's interesting. I do a podcast, thriving at 60, and I'm fine with that, but I'm comfortable. I've done over 370 podcasts, but this is only my fifth or sixth live, and I still need my notes, and I might always need my notes, who knows. So I'm going to wait till 12 noon, and I want to thank everybody who is taking the time to be on this Facebook Live. Our topic is, do you recognize the triggers that keep you stuck? Do you recognize the triggers that keep you stuck? So it is 11:59, so we're going to dive in a second. Whoop, I got a thing here. Ooh. Sorry. That's not very good of me to keep moving that camera around, is it? I'm trying to get the light off my glasses, but it'll have to be this way, I guess. It is 12 noon, so this is Wendy B. Getting Unstuck with Wendy B. Thank you for being live with me, and our topic today, and I'm just going to jump in and share the topic and start sharing on that, and then after that I will introduce myself. So the topic is, do you recognize the triggers that keep you stuck? And do you realize that conflict is part of our everyday living, our life? And when we can learn to be with conflict and effectively be with conflict, our lives shift, and we have a lot more freedom and power in our lives when we can work with conflict and not take things so personal. So I've been a member of Al-Anon since 1989. And this is a tool that I started using. They taught me this tool, and it was effective in raising my children. And so it's called HALT. Don't be too hungry, don't be too angry, don't be too lonely, and don't be too tired. And picture this. This is going back over 30 years ago. I was a single mom with a 7-year-old and a baby, and not a lot of money, and I was running a store, and to go grocery shopping, I used to take to save money, I would drive 35 minutes and go grocery shopping in a town 35 minutes away. So I would make sure that I planned that day ahead. And again, part of dealing with conflict is planning ahead. And I would make sure that the kids had healthy meals and healthy snacks. I would pack things and get them ready in the fridge the night before, and then I would take a cooler with me and make sure I had toys for the kids so that we could take breaks in between shopping and doing what we needed to do in town, so that they were taken care of. And I had a daughter that took, I'm not exaggerating, she took 30 tantrums a day. So when you come prepared and you couldn't rush things, when you've got a child like that, you can't rush things. And I wanted to make it as easy as possible on not just myself but my oldest daughter too. She was 7 years older than this child, and I wanted to create a win-win for all of us. So this "Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired?" was a real powerful, useful tool. So imagine being able to recognize the triggers and then being able to set up solutions and a game plan so that, no matter what comes up, any unforeseen situation, you can deal with it. So let's start with hungry. One of the things as a parent that I think is really important is to notice certain food. Do certain foods trigger your children? I noticed I noticed that sugar triggered my kids. I noticed certain colors in foods triggered my kids. So I tried to use no processed foods whatsoever. I tried to use from scratch, like healthy vegetables. And even though I was tight on money, I always either grew my own vegetables or bought organic. I thought that was so important because I come from a farm, and I ate a lot of. I still do eat a lot of vegetables, and I raised my kids on fresh fruit and vegetables. I didn't give them juice. Juice and pop were a treat, and I found that when my children ate balancedly and I ate balancedly, I was less cranky. I was more even keeled. And so I think that's really important. And then I also, talking about being prepared, I had little different size coolers and still do. I have the big cooler when you're going on a picnic, and then I have a small cooler that I take. Hi, Arlene. Oh, Arlene sent a message. I brought. I have a little cooler for just a day trip. I have a cooler this size that I can feed myself and one other for 3 days. I do a lot of 3-day seminars, so I want to pack healthy food. I also don't eat wheat and dairy, so I have to be selective on the foods that I do. And I find even it helps you save money, and it also you get to eat healthier foods, right? But I think being prepared and taking care of yourself and your children or anybody around you with healthy food is it stops the hunger, right? Healthy fats like avocados and whatnot. Now, angry, you could be justified for your anger. It could be valid anger, but you got to look at what triggers your anger. And do certain people trigger your anger? Do certain situations trigger your anger? So come prepared if that's the case. And if you can avoid those situations and avoid those people, then do that if you need to. And what I say is, if you're angry, because I can get angry, but I mastered not lashing out. You lash out and it doesn't work. It creates more conflict. And so I had a sponsor who, this is biblical, so you may not be biblical, and but and Jesus was buried on a Friday and rose 3 days later. So I always find that if I give myself 3 days, I call someone, or if I have to call more than one person, I will. But I call people who are not going to buy into my story about why I'm angry. They'll listen, but they'll coach me and get me to calm down and look at another perspective of what happened. because I find when we're triggered, it's usually based from the past. And so I find within 3 days, I feel so different about what happened, and then I can have effective conversations. I might have to make some powerful requests of people, but I won't be making them wrong. I'll be having a conversation to create a solution. And when I'm angry, I'm not having conversations to create solutions. I'm having a conversation to make you wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. I don't know about you, but that's usually what happens if I'm angry. So I have learned to keep my mouth shut. No texting, no phoning, no emailing, and only to call people who can support me in calming myself down, to reason things out. I mean, that's what HALT does, is it helps me reason things out. And then looking at tired, if you're a caregiver like myself, and you could be a man or a woman, but and I find most caregivers are women, but you can have men that are caregivers. We don't always take care of ourselves. We don't always put sleep ahead. And so I try to make sure I get my 7 or 8 hours sleep. And if I can't, like, I become the main caregiver for my granddaughter. Usually she has a little bit of a nap in the afternoon. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short. And I used to get really busy doing a whole bunch of work during that time. And sometimes if I'm tired, I'll take a break when she takes a break. And I may not get as much done as I'd like to get done, but I'm taking care of myself. So I want to make sure that I'm not hungry, I'm not lonely, I'm not angry, or I'm tired. And it's a useful tool to look when you're dealing with other people, because those can trigger them. And then you don't have to take it so personal. So I want you to get a piece of paper and write this down. Write some questions down and answer them. And you don't have to answer them right now, but this will help you. Ask yourself, are you or the people you're taking care of or dealing with, are you or them hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? If there's some conflict. What do you see as the immediate solution? And can you create that solution right now? Can you rectify it right now? Then do so. And, you could just tweak things. Ask yourself this question: can this be resolved immediately, or will it take time? Because sometimes we just want to go right into things, and no, that doesn't always work. And do you need to make requests of others to resolve this? And are you willing to be responsible and remedy this right now, the conflict right now? If so, do so now. And if not, when will you resolve this? Then I want you to write down 2 effective actions that you could take right now. And write that down. I hope this recognizing triggers, the tool that I gave you, is useful to you. Recognizing the triggers that get you stuck. I appreciate you being on Facebook Live, and I'll tell you a little about myself now. I am an entrepreneur. I'm an author. I'm a solution coach, and I've been coaching for over 40 years. I have not marketed myself. I don't have a website. I will be eventually getting a website, and I've just been coaching people by referral the last 40 years. And now I'm learning to market myself. I also have a podcast, Thriving at 60, and I'm in over 30 different countries, and I have over 23,000 followers. And my mission is having people thrive regardless of their circumstances, that we can have freedom and power. And it's really easy to have life work when life is working and everything's going hunky-dory. But it's like when you can have life working even when life sucks, that's freedom and power. And that's what I want to be able to give people. If you wish to get a complimentary 15-minute coaching session, go to my Facebook page, Getting Unstuck with Wendy B, and there's a button, and I think you hit the button. I'm learning all this technology, and then you hit it and it says test or something, and then it'll bring up my phone number, so you can text me or call me, and we can set up a 15-minute complimentary coaching session. And I request that you look at what area, just pick one area where you're stuck or stopped. And I promise you, if you take the coaching, you got to be committed to taking the coaching. If you take the coaching, it'll move you forward. So thank you again for anybody who's been on this Facebook Live that I haven't caught and I haven't acknowledged. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I would appreciate you liking my video if it's been useful to you, if the tool has been useful to you to build my credibility on Facebook. Either like it or comment or share. And thank you. We will see you live again on next Sunday. Thank you. This is Getting Unstuck with Wendy B.